Hey guys, so I was just browsing a lot of the African topics that were going around on social media, and then someone mentioned this article right here, which I found, and it was 20 things that happened for the first time in 2022 in the Africa tech scene. And just when it said Africa tech and scene, I was already intrigued, and so we're gonna go through these 22 things that happened for the first time in 2022 for the Africa tech scene, and some might be good, some might be bad. We'll see. Spoiler alert, they're mostly good. It's great. Kenya became the first African country to teach coding as a subject in schools. Thank you very much. They put it on the national curriculum to say, hey, you need to have programming, coding, etc. in schools. I thought South Africa has already done this. It seems not. It seems not. It seems in South Africa, like South Africa probably has like the South Africa and Egypt probably have the biggest proliferation of these things being taught, but I don't think it's like like as a dedicated school subject that everyone has to do. I think it's probably like electives when you're already mature enough that people are doing this. It's not like through school. It's like electives. That's what Egypt and South Africa do. Kenya has made it so that kids do it throughout school because now it's not something that you need. And actually, I did read something a while back. Someone arguing that everyone needs to have a certain level of programming competency in order to know, like, at least how things work in a certain way, or how to do things if you know your computer's frozen or stuck, etc., or how to resolve your own problems and not necessarily need to go pay someone hundreds of dollars for you to resolve a simple bug or whatever, or something that's wrong with your computer, you could resolve it yourself. And so I'm actually happy that Kenya has done this of saying, yo, all of our kids, you need to learn coding. It's mandatory. I love it. Great. Nigeria and DRC Congo now have startup acts. Across Africa, regulation is seen as an essential tool required to foster innovation. This is true, unfortunately. This has led to a clamor for supporting regulation for the tech ecosystem through startup acts. This part is good, at least. A Startup Act is a legal and institutional framework for the advancement of startups in a country. It helps to create an environment that encourages the formation, growth, and operation of startups within the country. This is great. Lagos is one of the best places to actually make an African startup. I wouldn't do it in Lagos though, because Nairobi's right there. Nairobi's the best place, but Lagos is still great. And DRC is also doing the same thing. That's also wonderful. That's also wonderful. So good to see they're taking it more seriously, especially Nigeria, because it's much more crucial for Nigeria. DRC has other problems. The Central African Republic became the first African country to make Bitcoin legal tender. It's true, not just legal tender. The Central African Republic actually devised this whole operation called Project Sango. They call it the Sango Project, where they're basically trying to bet the whole governmental model and economic model on like Web3 technologies. So on decentralized finance or decentralized governance, decentralized financial regulation and economic regulation, decentralized real estate purchasing, etc. And it's like an amazing project, and it's actually sometimes difficult to wrap your head around it when you start reading it because it's a bit like of a twirl mentally. But when you start to understand it, it's kind of like, wow, they're really doing this. They're literally betting their whole country's future on decentralized technologies, and it's pretty amazing. I read an article, a lot of articles on it actually, and it's amazing. And good for them. I hope it succeeds. If it doesn't succeed, they don't have much to lose. They already last on the Human Development Index, and if it does succeed, they have everything to gain. So good for Central African Republic. Massive wave of layoffs. That's true. Because of an economic downturn. That's true. Nigerian fintech companies battle with fraud allegations in Kenya. I heard about that. I heard about that. Unfortunately, over 4 billion raised in venture capital funding. This is true, and this is great. And I'll discuss that in another video. So no need to go too deep in that. African companies embrace the metaverse. This is true. And we see an example here in February after its rebrand, Africa's largest telecommunications company, MTN, bought 144 plots of digital land in the Africa Rare Metaverse. I haven't heard about that though. Ubuntu land for undisclosed sum, becoming the first African company to do so. Later in the year, NetBank and South Africa Retail Game also followed suit. I did hear something about them buying digital property. I didn't know it was in a place called Ubuntu land. I didn't know. But that's great. That's great. That's interesting. That's, you say, innovative. 5G is here to stay, with more African countries getting access to this technology. In my opinion, 5G isn't that important for African countries. It's also very expensive and costly to set up. No need to focus on 5G. Just focus on 3G and 4G. That's where the money still is and will be, at least for the next 10 years, in my opinion, before 5G really takes off. Global tech companies set up African offices. This is true. Twitter set up an African office in Ghana, but it closed down after Elon Musk bought it. But still, it was there. Microsoft opened a new African development center in Lagos. Great. Google announced its first African development center in Nairobi. True. And Microsoft also opened its first African center in Nairobi as well, and it's great to see. Love to see it. Bolt also launched its first African headquarters in Nairobi as well. Again, love to see it. Techstars Accelerator Program returned to Africa after 5 years. So Accelerator Program, similar to the Y Combinator, taking startups, believing in startups, investing in startups. Now they're investing back to investing in African startups. Great, more money for African startups, more money for technology to grow. I'm happy with it. Sorry if I'm speaking fast, but this is just trying to get through it before a certain time limit is reached. Anyways, Dole became the first African company to get listed via SPAC. I actually don't know much about this, but I assume that's great. Don't really feel like I need to know more about this though. I don't know. The race for African data centers and cloud continues. This is true and this is great. Um, Oracle, the world's largest database management company, opened its first cloud region in Africa. This is true. In October, Google declared its intention to establish the first African Google Cloud region in South Africa. They should have done it in Kenya, in my opinion. Anyways, Amazon Web Services in November opened its first office in Lagos, Nigeria, 5 years after its first office in Johannesburg was opened. Cool. In December, Liquid Intelligent Technologies all officially launched operations in Nigeria, having earlier expanded to Zambia in August. Amazon Prime became more pronounced in Nigeria. Cool. Vodacom pulled the plug on its video streaming service. Unfortunate. Google Africa's internet cable arrived. Google's African cable arrives in Africa, so the undersea cable finally arrived on the continent. Um, After I don't know how many years they've been planning this and how much they spent. But yeah, they finally arrived. You guys can go into the detail of this in your own time. I'm just trying to browse through them as quickly as possible. Um, but you can just get the general gist of what they're saying from the title. Meta backed to Africa subsea cable internet lands in Africa. So the same as what Google did with the undersea cable. Meta also did that with two Africa subsea cables. That's awesome. Thank you. Meta quietly, of course, they're gonna get something in return. Nothing's free, but hey, great to see. Meta quietly shuts down its low-cost internet program across Africa. I heard about this. I heard about this. They thought it was slick. Yeah, it's fine though. Well, it's not, but hey, at least they laid down those undersea cables. I'm happy about that one. Workplace culture issues and scandals. That's just a general topic. A wave of accusations. Yeah, there's a lot of accusations. 2022. A South African was charged in the largest fraud scheme involving Bitcoin. I heard about that. Zanzibar launched Silicon Zanzibar. I heard about that. And Zanzibar is a self-autonomous, semi-autonomous island. It plans to be Africa's leading tech hub through its Silicon Zanzibar project. You can read more about that. And there's another thing about MTN exits the Middle East, but that's fine. That's everything about these are the top things, the coolest things that happened in Africa this year of 2022 or last year of 2022. A lot of good things, more good things than bad, and some neutral. I read through very fast, because there's a lot. We didn't need to go through everything, or even do need to read a lot of the things, but you can read in your own time. I'll link it down below. Thank you for watching. Have a great new year, and I hope to upload more videos this year because I did not do that last year. Have a good day.